So today I have planned something called structure mapping. In this video, we will learn how we can do the structure mapping. So I have a chart, BTC USDT, it doesn't matter. But first we have to learn some basics of structure mapping. Let's watermark. The first thing that we have to draw, we have to understand before we map the structure. The first thing that we have to understand or we have to identify, that's called rules. You can call it rule or you can call it something else. So that is called rule number one is inducement. The first thing we will find out, inducement. I have made a video on the inducement. Go have a look what is inducement and how we can map, how we can find the inducement. Inducement, or we can call it liquidity. Some people call it liquidity, some people call it inducement. Then our next rule or next point is break of structure. Break of structure or boss. Then our next point will be swing points. Swing points, higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. Next comes change of character. Some people call it CHOCH, but I'm going to say it's change of character. Change of character. Change of character. Now there are different points. Under change of character, we have two different approaches. One we can call classical change of character. Classical change of character, we can call this one, it's an indication. The second one is advanced approach. Advanced approach. You can call it, the first one is indication, the second comes advanced approach, that is called identification. Then third becomes the confirmation. So now what we have to do, we have to understand each of these points. Like now this is the basic rule of general mapping. Now each one of them have their own rules. Now we are going to see which one are those. So let's understand what are the rules for inducement. Rule number one, we have to find a valid pullback. Now the question is how we will know what is a valid pullback, or how we can identify a valid pullback. Like of course there would be some kind of candle pattern or swing pattern. Of course there would be kind of identification, then we should know, okay, this is a valid pullback. So first we will understand what is a valid pullback. Okay, so I'm going to draw like two candles, and then we can understand exactly how we can say that this is a valid pullback. Let's just leave it here. we are assuming in this scenario the market was in buy move, like something like this, and this is the last highest candle that I have it on my chart. We are just going to assume it. Last high candle. Now I'm going to draw another candle. Now we can assume this candle, like the first candle, is up a bit, and the second candle has swept the liquidity of the previous candle. Now I'm considering first the scenario number one and closed above it, something like this. As we can see here, we have two candles, the first one and the second one. The second candle swept the liquidity and closed above it. So that means this is our lowest point. So we can call this is our valid pullback. This is our valid pullback. Now this is a scenario one. So let's assume another scenario. For example, this candle did not go up. It closed here. This is the second candle. And then an other candle formed, and something like this, and something like this. Now this was our last high candle, and then this was our the second candle that has gone through the wick of candle number one, and then third candle closed above the recent high. So now we can call this one our valid pullback. Now there are some rules for a valid pullback and a valid inducement. As you have seen, we have marked this is a valid pullback, and we have marked this is a valid pullback. Now I'm going to squeeze a little bit, and now we can see. Now the question is, can we mark this candle as a valid inducement or this candle as a valid inducement? While we're considering this was the point that recent candle has broken above. Now the question is, can we mark this as a valid inducement? For now, this is just a valid pullback, but not a valid inducement. Now the reason is why this is not a valid inducement. The reason is we do not consider a valid inducement if the highest candle that just formed and the valid pullback is next to it. You know what I mean? This is our recent highest candle. Let me mark it again. This was our reference point, this one. And then this was our pullback. And then now this is our highest candle. Now my question is, can we mark this as a valid inducement? No, because our inducement is very next candle of the recent highest candle. So we have to wait until market forms a next candle above it, something like this. So now this is not the candle very next to the high candle. So now this becomes a valid pullback and a valid IDM. Now this is our valid pullback and a valid IDM. And there is one more rule. For example, if we consider, let's say this was our highest candle, but it is something like this. Now, is this a valid pullback? In this situation, I can draw separately here. Can we mark it as a valid inducement to this candle? This was our highest point, like the price was coming up, and this is our highest point right over here. Here. We will not mark this as a valid inducement. The reason behind this is a mother candle, and this mother candle has covered the full next candle. So you can call it is a baby candle, and you can call this a mother candle since it's fully covered, it's inside the previous candle. So we will not mark this a valid pullback or a valid IDM, not a valid pullback, not a valid IDM, not a valid pullback, not a valid IDM, because this candle is a mother candle and there is no low. None of the candle has gone through this low. So unless another candle take the low, then we can consider it as a valid pullback and valid IDM. So in this, you understood what is the valid inducement and what is a valid pullback. The third rule or the third invalidation of a valid or invalid IDM. So we can call it like third invalidation of IDM. So let me just take them out. I'll take this one out. Let's take this out and imagine this is let's move it back up here. And right now, as of this moment, we can call this is a valid pullback and a valid IDM. Now imagine if something happened, something like this. For any reason, it could be any reason, price, because this was the candle, something like this. So this was the candle that was the highest candle after the recent high, and the same candle came down to our inducement. I think we should change the color because this could be a red color. Okay, so now this one, still we will not call it as a valid inducement. This candle should not do something like this. If it does, that means our inducement got invalidation. So these are the rules for valid pullback and a valid inducement.